Hey cycling community, this is Steve Grusis, the Cycling Greek. The best laid plans of mice and men. That was the situation we had this last Sunday. The race organizer decided to start the juniors with the women. So that's Cat 3, 4, 5 juniors and Cat 5 women. All the tactics and plans that were discussed the previous week are now out the window. Two of the women just dug in and went with the juniors as they shot off from the line. While I will connect with them later on in the race, you can get a full detailed description from their perspective from Cat 5 Cycling's video that I'll have linked below. Meanwhile, if you're not part of the lead group that's forming, you are part of the shattered pack. It's bodies lying everywhere. By the third corner of that very first lap, a number of the women coalesce. It looks like they're going to have a junior with them, but he accelerates out of the corner to bridge to another group that's forming ahead. Now I'm waiting to see if the group of women I'm with are going to use what they learned after week 1 race and were using during their week 2 race. Communicate, work together, take short pulls, and chase. The problem is that the woman in front, this is her first time racing, the first time at the skills clinic. She is come from out of nowhere strong. I'm waiting for the women in back of her to start communicating and tell her to take short pulls. After over half a lap, she's still pulling and nothing's being said. I remember what this one mentor did during my Cat 3-4 race when he was with a solo breakaway, one of the juniors. He was giving him instructions, so I decided, well, I'm going to give them instruction. So I turn into the Russian skating coach. I start yelling out instructions. Short pulls, 10 to 20 seconds, pull through, and they immediately jump into action. They do a very good job at following through and maintaining form, and this is especially hard because they're doing this at speed. One of the women in the group that I mentioned before, Anna, very strong. However, she was wasting energy and that was going to cost her. Every time she pulled off the front, she would wait until the last bike went by before she started applying power. By the time she did apply power and get up to speed, she was 1 or 2 bike lengths off the back and she'd have to make up that gap. At the speed they were going, that is tough to maintain. What she should do next time is the following. There are 3 of the women in the break. As soon as she pulls off, she keeps spinning, and then when the second one comes by, she starts to apply power. So then when the third one comes by, all she has to do is slip in behind her. After many, many laps of quality chasing, the group losing members and picking up members, I elected to drop off this group and wait for the group with the lead women. When I connected with this 4-rider group, I of course didn't know the story that led up to this point. What I did know was there were the 2 male juniors in the front trading long pulls and the 2 women in the back, where Kat was riding third wheel and at one point took a wide turn and positioned herself behind Natasha. As I alluded to earlier, I don't know what led to the situation with the 2 juniors pulling in the front and the 2 women sitting in the back. All I do know that the 2 women, especially these women, were probably pretty fresh just sitting back there, and that the juniors were probably getting a little worn. When you have this situation going on, which includes having 2 women that are tactically aware, this can happen. With the pack heading into turn 1, the lead junior pulls off. The second junior is slow in pulling through. Natasha sees this and has 3 laps to go, and she attacks. This causes consternation in the chase. Kat goes after her. The juniors go after her. One of the juniors is falling behind, the one that was taking the last pull. Kat now gets on the wheel of the other junior, who is pretty darn strong. That junior with Kat on his wheel is not able to make connection with Natasha. He starts to tire. Kat attacks the junior, and now she's chasing Natasha. The junior's chasing her, and the second junior's chasing him. He eventually makes contact with the other junior, but that pretty much emptied his reserves, so after a little bit, he had to drop off the pace. So now it's 1 junior chasing 1 woman, chasing another woman. And that's how it stayed for the last 2 laps of the race, and that's how this former chase group finished. If the juniors could have distributed the workload with the women, it could have been a different outcome. I don't know. At the very least, the women would have been a little more tired and the juniors would have been a little more fresh. I hope you enjoyed this commentary. Next weekend is going to be the 4th of these 4 skills clinics and practice races. Stay tuned for that video. In fact, after you subscribe, hit that little bell so you get notified when my next video is coming out. And as always, comment, like, subscribe. The Cycling Greek.